is everybody's a contender. It's very, very close.
Yeah, it is. The entry totals ranging from 407 kilos from the Asian Games champion, but not that far, up to 420. So pretty tight affair this. So here we go, first attempt in the men's 105 kilo class. Always nice to start with a good result, and 170 kilos from Aldzeev of Belarus. Aldzeev, 6th in Europe this year, and that's 7 kilos within his finishing total. Last year didn't have such a good time in the Worlds, had 3 attempts at 175, didn't make them, so a better start from him. And now we go straight to the Syrian, 23 years of age, Ahed Zhugli of Syria, Asian Games champion back in Doha last December. And not such a good start. In fact, he was a man who also didn't get a total last year in the World Championships. Tried 177 on 3 occasions, didn't get any of those. Tried 3 clean and jerks on 223, didn't get any of those either. So the Asian Games was really a welcome return to form for him, David. That would have been a big confidence boost, but that's just suffered a bit of a dent. 407, he's the man with the lowest entered total of all these finalists. And just to reiterate, the best man from the B group, Joel Mackenzie from Cuba, who amassed 391. 1 or 2 other totals worth mentioning there. Gia Makavariani of Georgia, 383. Bunyame Sudas, there's a familiar name, from Turkey, 383 also. And Albert Kuzilov of Georgia, 381. But on paper, at least, none of those men from the B group should threaten these guys.
Sudas way down on his best.
Well,
normally be sort of competing up there with the men in the A.
As ever was these days with the Turkish story, they're all considerably down on where they were. So now Ahed needs to correct. See these big guys, their arms right out to the full extension of the bar, and that's much better. Good recovery. But an option lost. That said, at least he's got a kilo more than he had in Doha, but how much further can he go? He looks plenty strong enough, David.
Yeah, it's not strength.
No, it just emphasises the pity about not getting the first one, because then he might have gone 170. Well, he would have gone 173, because that's the minimum. Might have gone 175, 176, new marks and things. So,
well, a little bit complacent, not concentrating as much as he should have done.
No. Alan Chagayev to come out on stage. As I say, this man, at his very best, Chagayev can be a real danger man. Twice a European champion.
Yeah, very strong in the second half of the competition. Very powerful clean and jerker. Done at 235 kilos.
Well, when he was winning the Europeans in 2002, 2004, he was a 420 man in terms of total. Last year in the World Championships, 385, and you know his total entered today from Chagayev, 412. So you know maybe he's.
Well, like all the other Bulgarians, he was down at the Europeans, but they all seem to have brought themselves on a bit since then, don't they?
But needs to get a decent start in. He needs to give himself a bit of a platform here. 175 for an opener.
Yeah, he's done 185, so 175 as an opener would suggest that he's not too far away from that.
Good speed.
Yeah, just a little bit worried about that right arm, but I'm sure. I think he'll get that. Yeah, 3 white lines. Yeah, I think if he's going to do a 180, he's got to. He's going to have to work a little bit harder.
It was actually 10 years ago that he moved from Russia to Bulgaria. Didn't feel at that time that there was any real chance of being a force in the Russian team, and in his time he's also been lifting in the German Bundesliga. But that's Shagayev, and now Iraq onto the stage, being represented here by Mohammed Yassim, 25 years of age. Opening attempt. So already some repair work required here by him. Yeah, didn't pull the bar high enough. And has the advantage of Contender of Greece wanting this same opening weight. This 21-year-old moving up from 94 kilos to 105. He was in the 94 kilo class in the Europeans in Strasbourg, so this is a recent move up to this 105 kilo category that Yakovu has asked him to do. So interesting to see how he does. Only weighed in at 100.66. And I would reckon this would be pretty difficult, David, because he's light, because he's only just moved up, and he's not had that much acclimatization time in this weight category.
That's right, he's got probably another 7 or 8 kilos to gain before he reaches his full potential, but I would guess that Yakovu has made the decision for him to move to 105, and with the Olympics next year, now's the time to do it, because it gives him time to gain that body weight and consolidate.
Yeah, he was decent in Europe. I mean, 5th in the 94 kilo class, totaled up 380 to 170 to 10. So you would have thought the 175 as a 105 kilo lifter would be well within his compass. But as ever, this particular discipline, this opening snatch requirement, it does demand explosive power and precision. And this time, Mohammed Yassim puts it right. So that's good. Second attempt, 175, and he gets that. Al-Afuri, there's Mohammed Yassim Al-Afuri, to give him his full and correct name. So Kotidis smartly out onto the stage.
So needs to put it right this time. Just needs to keep the shoulders over at the top of the pull just a little bit longer, so he doesn't cause any backward momentum. Temptation is to lean back at the top when the weight's heavy to try and gain a bit more height, because that sends the weight backwards. Perfect.
Well, how many times do we see this with Yakovu? He is. That's why he is so special. I mean, you know, when you need him after a failure, how good is he at just finding exactly the right note and conveying exactly what he requires you to do and helping you to make the good lift. I mean, he is remarkable as a coach. So Syria, third attempt, the first one lost. Asian Games champion. Actually, it was Syria defeating Iraq, because Al Duafri of Iraq was the silver medalist, only by a kilo. So a little role reversal here now. The Iraqi has got revenge over the Syrian in terms of the first half of this competition. It was the Syrian who proved the stronger in the clean and jerk phase in Doha last December. So interesting to see whether it follows the same pattern.
Well, the bar now moving up to 177 kilos.
Andrei for his second attempt.
Yeah, he did a fairly comfortable 171. Sorry, 170 on his starter. So 7 kilo jump, but I think he's well capable.
Yeah, 7 kilos though. Even though we're up in the top end of the weight categories, it's still a decent amount to take as a second attempt. No worries, good lift. So moving nicely now, capable of a whole lot more. When he won the European silver back in 2006, actually snatched 166, and in the Olympic Games 185. So did I say 166? 186 in the Europeans, 185 in the Olympics. So a little to do, and the voice of the boss in the background. There he is. Lucky to still have him, the Greeks. Could have retired. Decided not to.
Well held.
That is excellent. Really excellent. So missed the first one, recovered, and now gives himself a new mark. Interesting to see where that puts him at the end of the afternoon when the whole competition is completed. 177 kilos represents a weight bigger than anybody lifted in the B group, so Kudidis 177, weighed in at 100.66, so he's so light that he's obviously the gold medal leader at this moment, but maybe not for much longer. Akhmatov, Bakhtibet Akhmatov of Kazakhstan, 180 opener. Third most recently in the springtime in the Asian Championships, and that's a good start. That really is an interesting. That is 20 kilos up on what he had to produce in the Asian Championships last April, May. In the Asian Games last December, he was lifting 175 kilos.
So we've got a character coming onto the stage next. I always call him the pub landlord.
Yeah, Ramunas Visnauskas, decked out in full Lithuanian colours. Yeah, he really is. Bit of a showman, but the sport's richer for it. But I'm afraid his percentage record isn't that high in terms of making the lifts. He usually gets away with a snatch and a clean and jerk to scrabble a total, but we'll have to wait and see. 2 out of 6 a couple of years ago in the Europeans, and that's what I mean. Hey, I mean, he can do 185, he can do 187, 188. No worries at his best.
It's pretty light as well, 102.38. And I think the coach's expression said, "Oh, here we go again."
Yeah. Chagayev out for 180, so 5 kilo increase up on the Bulgarian. Lifts for Levski Sofia, coached by Yanko Rusev. Second in the Olympic Games in Sydney, second in the World Championships in 2002 in Warsaw. So he's been close to the big one. As I said, he's had a couple of European titles.
That's better, isn't it?
Yeah, that's much better. But again, as we've seen, David, so often, you know, the nerves are there, the uncertainty when you come out for the first attempt, and then that one goes well, and suddenly you feel as if you're, you know, moving. You can move through the gears, but he's going to have to. He's
coming back to form, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's going to have to do 6 out of 6, and he's going to have to also, I think, rely on 1 or 2 people, you know, falling by the wayside. I mean, Chagayev has been on a sort of plateau for a while now, whereas the likes of the young Pole Marcin Dowenga, the Snatch world record holder, we wondered whether he would improve in the clean and jerk. He did improve, and that's why, you know, he won the world title last year. So, be interesting to see. But here comes our favourite man, Mr. Wisniewski. Bit of show business, but I really hope he lifts this now. 180 to get his campaign on the road. Good for him. That's better. Everybody's a lot happier. Describes himself as a journalist. Not actually quite sure what he writes about, but pretty experienced. Been in the Olympic Games for Lithuania on a couple of occasions. That's the man who's just left the stage. Didn't quite get the bar high enough there. That's a pity. Really is a pity. I thought he might have just got that, but 180 leaves him on 177. Interesting to see what sort of shape and mood Dowenga's in. Had to go at 200 for the snatch last year in the World Championships. That would have been a new world record if he'd got it.
I thought he did it.
No, he didn't.
No, he did it in the Europeans though, didn't he?
No, he did 199.
199.
199. So here comes the man who took the Asian Games silver medal. Al-Jawafri Mohammed, representing Iraq. So left on 180.
Yeah, I think being a bit too ambitious there. No, he's left on 175.
Yeah, because he tried
a big jump, didn't he?
Yeah, what he did he did the 175, 180 didn't get it, so he drops back to 175. Yeah, absolutely right. I think I know what was in his mind. There's several contests going on within the overall contest here, and clearly he wants to defeat the Syrian who took the gold medal, and because it was only a kilo, I think what he was looking for was to get those extra kilos to provide a cushion for the clean and jerk phase. Unfortunately for him, Hasn't quite happened, although he does have a bit of an advantage. That was important.
Yeah, it was a good effort. I mean, he took it to arm's length.
Yeah, but he needed to make that. So that leaves him on 180. So still to start, Martin Tesovic of Slovakia, the European champion, former world bronze medalist. This man in picture's got one more attempt to come. And confirmation only just through that Saeed Saif of Qatar, who was on the list originally, not taking any part. No reason given. Maybe it's an injury, we haven't heard. But that is interesting because he was the Olympic bronze medalist back in 2000 and the Asian Games silver medalist in 2007. That's just come through. Wisnauskas 1 out of 3. Got to say, David, that's par for the course for him.
Yes, he always puts himself under real pressure coming in at weights that are right on his limit.
So we did have 12 in the field. We've now got 11. And you're looking at Martin Tesovic of Slovakia. Really good to see him back, David, at the European stage. Won the European title after so many seasons of back problems that, you know, one injury after another. So hopefully from the Europeans in Strasbourg to here and then on to the Olympic Games, he can stay fit and healthy. This is only 2 kilos below his finishing weight in the Europeans, and that looked very good indeed. Nice and fluid, very strong. 3 white lights, no problem at all. Good start.
Yes, and it looks as if now he's got his back problem sorted out. He's sort of able to move forward with his training again.
Yeah, he was so promising. I mean, he's 32 now, but back in '97, actually, before the World Championships came here, he was a European bronze medalist. He got another bronze in '99. Really, really strong, and then, you know, he suffered all the problems. Now, Dmitry Klokov, this Russian talent, just 24 years of age, world bronze medalist last year, world champion back in 2005 in Qatar. Weighed in at 104.92, heaviest man in the class. Things could get better. It's got that nervy one out the way. This is such a tight class. You get the feeling again, David, 6 out of 6 lifts here, or 5 out of 6, and you could do very well here in terms of the final total and the medal quality, or the quality of medal you'll be taking home. Akhmatov of Kazakhstan, Asian Games bronze medalist, 4th in the World Championships 2 years ago, won by Dmitry Klokov, and 7th in Athens, so got some pedigree. Opened on 180, got that well enough.
Very good. Very good.
I think that's the best we've seen so far. Most convincing, certainly. Where we headed?
Should be Belarus.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Incidentally, the world record holder Marcin Dowenga of Poland posted 193 for his opening snatch attempt, so we're still a few kilos away from that. First attempt?
Opener 187, originally had 185 down, so I'm presuming his warm-up has gone better than expected.
Well, this is the junior world champion of the current season.
Most impressive. Good speed. Well over 400 pounds there, and took it over his head in less than a second. Amazing power.
Just 19 years of age.
Your second attempt, 189 kilograms, followed by Aramnau from Belarus.
Andrei Aramnau for Belarus with the edge. Now, clock off Russia. 4 kilo increase.
Давай, Димончик. Сегодня жестко.
Well, the Polish camp won't be too unhappy to see that lift go by. This is the time when the coaches of Marcin Dowenga, the defending champion, will be keeping an eagle eye on the opposition, I reckon, David, because although they've posted 193, if people start missing lifts, they might modify that down to, say, 190, 191 for the opener. David Rigger looking anything but pleased there. Sense the threat of 2 days in the gulag for missing things like that. But it happens. Now the question is whether he can repair the damage. Tesovic and the bar to 190, so to give him a bit more time. Well, if he lifts this as convincingly as he lifted the first attempt, then clearly all the preparation that this man, who's based out of Trenchin, north of Bratislava, by a couple of hours up the motorway, one of the great sports centres there, big military base up in Trenchin. We were there for the Europeans in 2001. And Tesovic was not in condition to give of his best, but this is much more encouraging.
Very good.
Yeah. And how important was that, David? Because I just have a feeling that in the clean and jerk phase, he might well be able to match Dowenga. So, and he might even manage to nick a couple of kilos off him. And therefore, it's really important. If Dowenga's going to come in at 193 and start disappearing up towards the 200s, he's got to try and stay as close as he can to him. Real chance of a world medal for the Slovakian. 190 though, he leads. and Akhmatov for Kazakhstan. This is for 3 out of 3. Akhmatov 104.25 weighed in at. Tesovic 104.83, the heavier. So this for the snatch advantage.
He's had a very good sequence today.
Yeah.
And I believe the last 2 lifts that we just saw are lifetime bests, aren't they?
The 190.
Sure.
No, the 190 is. Funnily enough, when he didn't total.
I didn't mean I mean the last 2 lifts.
Yeah.
In the competition. Yeah, the 190 was a personal best for him.
For Tesovic as well as
Akhmatov. So this man deciding to opt for 190.
Which would not be a personal best, but it would keep him in the hunt.
Yeah, clearly he was just sort of, I don't know, one senses that perhaps he's got some kind of injury problem. His shoulder is bothering him. Well, there it is. Good man. This is turning out to be a very good quality class. 3 men on 190 already.
Yeah, but still Dawenga to start, the snatch world record holder. Yeah, he's not that shabby in the clean and jerk. He has improved in that division. And if you imagine, David, that Klokov's now finished, Tesovic has only got 1 left, all to play for Dawenga. So Aramnau now for Belarus.
This is probably the toughest competition that Dawenga's been in, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. He's going to need to try and make 10 kilos on the... Well, maybe he won't make 10 kilos, but if he could make 6 or 7, he probably needs to.
He's not going to get it all his own way today.
No.
I mean, this youngster's taken 192 here, and it's only his 2nd attempt. He's got another one to go.
Junior world champion, 5 kilos up on his junior world snatch effort, 187.220 to give himself a total of 407 earlier in the season, and clearly advancing rapidly. And looking quite confident, I have to say. That expression on the face there sort of tells you something, but here comes Marcin Dawenga. First attempt. The European champion, the world champion, did the double in 2006.
As I said, he's not going to have it all his own way, and now he's missed that as an opener. He's limited his how far he can go, limited his attempts, 1 wasted.
Well, if you remember, David, when he lifted the 199 in Vladislavovo in that Olympic hall in their training centre 2 years ago at the European Championships, I mean, that was an amazing atmosphere when he hit the world record there. And then again, to his credit, followed up in Santo Domingo, but a year on, we didn't really see him in the World Championships. It was in the European Championships this year. It was Tesovic who was the main man. And now he's got to follow himself, and he really has to get this second one. This is now, you could even say that this is the lift that he has to make if he wants to defend the championship.
See how he responds to a bit of, well, not a bit, a lot of pressure from several other athletes.
Well, I think he's got to not worry about them, he's got to worry about himself now. "30 seconds just gone." From the moment that left the floor, that wasn't going to happen. There was no coordination there at all.
He's in trouble, and as we said, I think that if he's going to have a chance of winning this competition, he would have needed to get a bit of headway in the snatch, you know, a bit of an advantage, and he's not going to do that.
Well, I talked a little bit earlier, David, about the coaches assessing what everybody else is doing, what's he doing. I mean, clearly it would, on the face of the first two efforts, seem that they've misjudged this, and he should have come in at something like maybe 190 and got one on the board. However he's feeling, whatever his chances in the clean and jerk. But now the defending world champion is on the edge of going out of the 2007 championship. And how important is that, David? Again, you know, he's a major player.
Points again.
You would expect him to be in the Olympic Games. If he doesn't get a total, huge setback, then pressure on to the next year's European Championships. It'll be good to see him performing in that arena, but he'd have hoped to have the option. Some lifters, you know, if they qualify now and they're given the places by their country, would choose to maybe miss the Europeans next year. That's becoming less and less a factor now, because people like to lift fairly regularly. They don't like having exaggerated absences from the competition stage. I can only hope that he does this. Hasn't been much for the Polish team here. Klanowska earlier on.
Yeah, she's second in Europe, but sixth overall here.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. There hasn't been much for them to cheer about or have a little vodka celebration with. No, and that's it. Championship title has gone. Total has gone. Points have gone. Opportunity lost. And whether he was the favourite or not, he's out.
Well, the junior from Belarus is in the gold medal position at the moment, and the only person that has an attempt left that could change that is Tesovic.
Yeah. So it's the 32-year-old Tesovic versus the 19-year-old Aramnau. And interestingly enough, what total did they both enter, David, today? 415. So they both have the same aspiration, but one of them could become world snatch champion at this moment. And to bat first, so to speak, Tesovic.
194. He's going for it.
Tesovic 104.83, Aramnau the lighter at 103.89, so he'll only have to do 194, which is 2 kilos up for him if Tesovic does it, and he doesn't have to worry about that now because Tesovic is left on 190. The junior world champion has now won the senior gold snatch medal. He's got one lift to go. He's got 192, and this is to help him move ahead of the field. Well, it will be when he comes onto the stage.
$195.
Well, this is really where I hope they're being realistic, David, because what he needs to, every kilo will be a good kilo gained, but he's going to have Tesovic is in second place on 190 along with Klokov of 190 as well, so he's got a 2 kilo lead on them. If he gets the 5 kilos, very useful. But he looked mega confident. You remember that little smile he had after he got the second one, as if to say there's more to come.
Looks confident. He's at the right age for improvement as well. And actually the right body weight, still quite light.
Yeah, 8 kilos up on his junior world achievement in the snatch if he gets this. Big lift.
Best of the 3.
Powerful, fast, precise.
So the surprise of the championships.
Yeah, when you consider he's 19 years of age. Yeah, just one little correction, but exciting times. You can see he's enjoying this. So are they. So we've got to the halfway stage, and perhaps, David, not quite in the manner that we thought it would be, because it is Andrei Aramnau of Belarus who leads, and Tesovic the silver,